Hey everyone, this is Hector with Inkluminati. And I just want to do a really quick pen review. It's not really even a review. It's just I'm so excited about this pen, I just had to record something. For my birthday, I went to Paradise Pens. And I wasn't planning on buying a pen. I know. I was planning on buying ink and paper and all that good stuff because the Chicago Pen Show is coming up. I was going to blow all my money at the Chicago Pen Show on vintage pens. But there was a pen there that was on sale. It was on clearance. And their sale price was pretty close to the price I can get it from Japan. It's like $50, $60 difference. Not that big a deal. So I went for it. And I'm glad I did because it's an amazing pen. It's in the little box right here. It's the Pilot Justus 95. And it's supposed to have a flex nib. I wouldn't call it a flex nib, and I'll get into that. But it comes in this cute box. And in this cute box is an identical cute box. And then in this box is some goodies, some stuff, a cartridge, other things, the warranty information, all that other good stuff. And it's empty because I've already been playing with it a lot. And here it is, the Pilot Justus 95. Now I was also looking at some of the Japan-only pens, like the 743, which has a number 15 size nib. This one has a number 10 size nib. I was also looking at the 845, which is their Urushi pen, which also has a number 15 size nib. But I got this one because I couldn't. It was right there. It was on sale. Why not? I'll go over the pen here in a minute. Tell you what I like, tell you what I don't like, and then we'll go over to the desk and do a writing sample. The pen comes in two different finishes. One of the finishes is called barleycorn, and the other is the pinstripe. And I've been to pen shows before, and I've gotten to play with the barleycorn version, and I don't like it. I don't like the chasing or how that looks. It wasn't for me. It was just an aesthetic thing. It wasn't for me. But in the store, they had this awesome pinstriped version, which looks really cool. So I got this one, and it's not a cigar shape, and it's not really a flat top. I'd call it kind of in between. It reminds me of the Sailor Pro Gear, where it pretends it's going to be a cigar shape, and then the ends are cut off. The end it's got a cute little black mirrory thing there. Same thing on the other end. It's got a trim ring here and a trim ring here. The clip has a little decoration there. It's got a couple chevrons, and then it's got two gold bands here, a big one and a little one. And on there it says, let's see if we can get it in focus here, Pilot Japan. Justus 95. And it's a pretty good sized pen. I was kind of surprised at how good it felt in the hand. Usually I like bigger pens like the Jinhao 159, the Montblanc 149. Big pens. I like big pens. This one actually, it sits in the hand pretty darn good. It's got a 14 karat gold nib with the little doohickey right there that allows you to adjust the firmness, and I'd say that's a good word, the firmness or softness of the nib. It's not really, it doesn't really control flex. I wouldn't call this a flex nib. It's more of a soft nib. But this knob, it does do something. I've seen reviewers say I didn't notice anything, or even the manager of the Paradise Pen, who I spoke to, said that another customer had purchased it and they monkeyed with it and they didn't see a difference. But I can see a difference because I like writing with needle points for Spencerian. And when you spin this all the way to the hard, it becomes a needle point. It really does. I have the fine nibbed pen, which is more, it's a Japanese fine, so it's more like an extra fine. But it really is a needle point. It lays down a very thin line when you dial this all the way to hard. And then when you dial it back to soft, it lays down more ink. It doesn't flex per se. It does a little, but it lays down more ink even when you don't use pressure. It will lay a thicker line than on the harder setting, which to me is very helpful if you want to write extra fine notes in the margin, or if you want to do very thin Spencerian type lettering. It's great. It does make a difference. And inside the pen it has their Con 70 filler, and I have this loaded up full of Mont Blanc Meisterstück something blue. I don't remember because I wasn't looking for that ink either, but they had it, so I bought it. It's in the back here. It's Meisterstück Blue Hour, and it's really just a blue black, but it's pretty sharp. I like it. So that's the pen. We'll put that back on there. Put this back in here. Now I do plan on getting another Pilot. I want one with the number 15 nib. I'll probably order that from Japan, but just to give you an idea how big this is, here it is next to a Mont Blanc 149. It's pretty much the same length, a little less girthy than the Mont Blanc, but it's pretty big. It's pretty big. I like it. And then we'll compare it to, let's go for a Lamy. Everybody owns a Lamy. This is the Orange All-Star. Give you an idea how big it is next to that one here. It's actually a little bit longer than the Lamy. And it's about the same girth. Just looking at it here, I'd say that's about the same girth. And that's about that. So let's go play with the nib. All right, let's play with this pen. Right now the nib is set to full hard, so we'll play with that. First thing we'll do is print, because I print at work and I use this at work, so we'll do some printing. The quick brown duck. quacks at trees. And this, when it's set to hard, it's really like a needlepoint, a really smooth needlepoint. It's very, well, needle pointy. Let's do some cursive. Now it looked like it skipped there, but I'm trying to use no pressure whatsoever. So that was me. Quick quacking duck. Alrighty. Now let's spin this to soft. So we'll just spin it to soft, and then I'll retract that doohickey, and we'll give it another shot. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm using no pressure again, and look how much darker this is than up here. I'm using the same amount of pressure, which is none, because this is extra fine to needle point, so you don't want to use any pressure. And it's very smooth if you don't use pressure. Some needle points, like some of the ones I've ground myself, I've ground them incorrectly and they're basically spears and they dig in, but this one's very smooth. The quick brown duck. Quacks at trees. Now that's no pressure, and if, as you can see, the thickness of the line and the wetness of the line are distinctly different. It's much wetter and much fatter. This is almost like a true extra fine, while this is like a needle point. Fine. Too extra fine, and this is straight up needle pointy. Needle pointy. All right, I'll do some cursive. Now again, I'm not using any pressure. Quacking duck. Well, that's also with no pressure. And as you can see, the line width, both printing and using cursive, is definitely bolder and thicker with it set to soft. And while we have it set to soft, let's try some flex writing. Where? quacking duck. And that's about all of, as far as I want to press that. You can get a little bit more out of there, but it's very firm. I wouldn't even call this semi-flex. So I don't want to ask this nib to do too much, because I wouldn't even consider this a semi-flex nib. It's somewhat soft. And then when you spin it to hard, it's very needle pointy. But let's give a bird a go. Now, here's something I don't like. I didn't mention this in the other part because it's a little bit easier to show here. Whenever I ask a pen to do flex writing or flourished birds or anything like that, with a pen with a converter, you can spin the converter knob and it will flood the feed. You'll see ink fill those fins, and you can flood the feed full of ink in preparation of attempting a big bird flourish or lots of flex writing. Whereas on this pen, when we try to do that, when we ask it to give us some more ink, what's going to happen is you're going to see a blob of ink try and come out that bottom breather hole. Ooh, see it? So you can't really ask this pen to flood the feed full of ink. It will only burp ink out of that hole. So that's one thing I don't like about this pen. However, this pen isn't really a flex pen per se, so I wouldn't really call that a design flaw, because it wasn't designed for some crazy person to flex the living bejesus out of it. So it will flex a little bit. I spun the wrong thing there. There we go. But it won't flex a lot, and you can't force it to flex by flooding that feed full of ink. And we'll try a bird, but don't be surprised if we get some railroading or other ill behavior, because this pen was not designed to do what I'm doing. It's nice that it does do it, but it wasn't really designed for it. See, it just railroaded there. So it will flex a bit, but when you ask it to do a flourish, and like I said, normally with a different pen you would spin the knob and get that feed all full of ink so you can kind of trick it into doing it. There's no doing that on this pen, and it will write upside down quite nicely, no pressure to give you those other feathers. But it wasn't designed for this, and it just doesn't do it. But it is a very pleasant pen to use. I do like this pen. It's very nice. And when you spin that all the way down, it is a needle point. I have a Masuyama needle point, and I would say this is thinner than the Masuyama needle point when you spin it all the way to hard. Now this is the fine nib. I did try the medium nib in the store, and it is fatter, but I was looking for a nice extra fine to needlepoint for margin notes, you know, like the engine. She's gonna blow. So it's nice for margin notes if you're working on, like I work on fiber optics at work, and I take readings, I take light levels, I take MAC addresses, and you just quick write those down in the margins as you're working, and it comes in handy for that. You need that tiny writing off to the side. It's perfect. So I really love this pen because it pulls double duty. You can spin it down, it becomes a needlepoint. You spin it back to soft, and you can get some line variation and maybe a little bit smaller bird than this. So it's a very nice pen. I would highly recommend it. And that's that. Thank you.